Hello, fellow wanderers. I'm Endri, and thank you for joining me as we wander through some more Sunless Sea. And we're at Nuncio, and this is an interesting place. Taciturn functionaries walk the docks in the uniforms of postmen. An enormous crowned statue casts a chilling shadow. The shadows gleam with rats' eyes. Their ceaseless chittering rolls like the tides. The inky blotter, it's called. The sign doesn't look like much. Faces turn in your direction, but no one seems surprised to have a new arrival on the island. Lit by two roaring fires, one at either end of the room, the bartender is in a postman's uniform, like almost all the patrons. A noseless postal inspector called Blunt Thomas delivers the drinks, clears tables, and stacks the firewood. Allow the clattery heir to offer her services. She could remove the call from a postal worker. They wouldn't be a worker anymore, of course. The hairless postwoman won't hear of it. But you do get one taker. I miss London, he says. I'm tired. The inside of my mouth tastes like stamp glue. Blunt Thomas gives you a bottle of rum for the use of the basement. No amenities, but I don't fancy cleaning the blood off a better floor. The patient takes off his uniform for the last time and lies on the cold floor. No spectator, says the clattery heir harshly, and puts you out of the room. She comes out later with a scrap of skin from the patient's chest. Patient follows, whistling a tune from Mahogany Hall. We now have one clattery souvenir, and I have the Nuncio treatment. Awesome. Fishermen brag about fish that got away. Postmen brag about hard deliveries. Delicate bottles lowered down chimneys on rope. Do not fold under any circumstance letters curled through a narrow slot. Rattling, groaning crates brought back to the same address every day for 22 days running. The windows they pried open, the servants they bribed, the delivery surcharges they paid out of their own salaries just to get rid of one more packet. It's hard to tell which of them they hate more, the senders of mail or the recipients. Stands to reason, if the message was a welcome one, they'd tell the other fellow in person, reflects the hairless postwoman. 2 strings of rats for a pint of ale, 3 strings of rats for wine, 5 for tolerable brandy under the bar. The hairless postwoman at the end of the bar smiles mirthlessly, or maybe it's just the lack of eyebrows that does it. Long enough carrying the things around, you get into the habit, she says. She then tells you that if you stay out late enough, you'll see some of the postmen making a procession to the center of the island, stringing up rats around the statue like Yuletide decorations and a prayer to the ancient deity of this place. From the coughing and choking elsewhere in the pub, you'd guess this is a story they often tell to newcomers. Nope, we're not asking that question. That seems rude. Don't ask a hairless lady why she's hairless. Ask about that big statue in the center of the island. If there's ever a guidebook for visitors, they would have to be the first entries. Oh, that. It's all of us, isn't it? Sort of the spirit of the island. Most of them don't seem troubled for more of an explanation than that, though the hairless postwoman tells you it didn't always look like a fallen London postman at all. He should have a different face and a more old-fashioned outfit. Okay. Ask how they occupy themselves all day. There must be more than this. Dead letter office. Big building center town, hard to miss. You can work there too if you want. It's not clear whether this is a generous offer or a threat. Ask to borrow a uniform. If you're to fit in here, you'll need one. They're polite, even apologetic about your request. You're welcome here, and welcome to take shifts at the dead letter office, but you cannot wear the uniform unless you were a postal employee back in fallen London. Regulations. Blunt Thomas lets you have a look at his uniform jacket at least. Neat stitching, gilded buttons, a thin but dignified circle of a braid at the collar. Inside, a patch goes over the heart, stitched with 6 red letters. You can't read it, but it makes your eyes itch and your scalp feel like burning. Oh dear. Let's head back to the docks then. Well, let's make a port report. Uniform behavior. Cataloging all the peculiarities of this place takes many pages. The tailor who imports gilt buttons and braid just to be able to keep everyone's uniform in condition. The fashion of wearing a post bag with nothing inside. Wearing it open, wearing it upside down, torn apart, or as a hat. Wearing it any way that will show you it doesn't have letters in it. Then there are sitting rooms papered in canceled stamps. The bergamot pomegranate curd on toast. Bergamo? Pomegranate? The commerce in rat corpses, the hatred of cats, the absolute custom against ever issuing a paper invitation for any event, no matter how formal. The familiarity that is not quite Londonness of the place that makes it all so odd. Well, let's explore along the beach. There's a long stretch of shale dotted with washed up kegs and barrels and smaller flotsam. The rocks slip and slither underfoot, but you keep your balance. Rescue a parcel that won't stop meowing. Extraordinary. There aren't even any air holes. We've gained 5 terror. The parcel's contents are not at all pleased to make your acquaintance. A yellow glare, a flash of claws, a distinctive odor, and the horrible animal is out of sight. You'd like to believe it will come to regret mauling you, but alas, it's likely to regard this rat-infested island as a paradise. Your left cheek will never quite be the same. Every lap of the wave drags up a new letter or parcel. The face of the water is dotted with them, far as you can see, the blackness carried by a powerful current. Argue with the man holding a broom. He is determined. He keeps shoving letters back to the sea. The sea keeps shoving them back. Assist the man holding the broom. Both of you still won't achieve anything, but maybe he'd feel better. Surprisingly soothing. In the long term, what you are doing won't make it the slightest bit of difference. Every sodden bit of paper you fling out to sea will come back in a few hours. But for now, you manage to clear a little patch of the shore. A few feet on each side, the stones are bare, as they should be. Your companion turns his head towards the sound of your work and gives a little nod. And we lose 5 terror. Nice. And we're going to collect a letter for the material for the dead letter office. You make your way along the shore with a big sack. Many of the envelopes are too damp to read, their addresses permanently lost, but a surprising number are still legible. There's also parcels, here and there a crate, a message in a wine bottle, a sealed cask that is bobbed up out of a shipwreck. Your sack ought to get heavy with all these contents, but it pulls upwards and away, straining inland toward the dead letter office like an unmanageable dog. Oh dear. We're now familiar with the pool. Let's go to the dead letter office, shall we? You make your way along the shore with a big sack. Many of the envelopes are too damp to read. Their address... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Perhaps not. Okay. Let's try a shift at the dead letter office. There we go. Blunt Thomas takes you around the office, a small collection room where those retrieving letters may state their business. A much larger set of back offices where newly arrived letters and parcels are collected and sorted. A dank, briny smell that never goes away, presumably because so many of the parcels spent time in the water before they arrived here. In the back of the room is a machine ratted by a postal rat, a Rattus Faber in a pinstriped hat. It shovels sludge-damp letters in the machine's hopper, and they come out dried, cleaned, pressed, and sorted into slots by size and quality of paper. Feed your undeliverable letters into the sorting machine. The gleaming hopper awaits. After prolonged worrying, the machine begins to distribute. 7 invitations edged in gilt into the correspondence of the aristocracy slot, 2 oversized parcels, probably containing books into the books tray, 1 stamped bronze tablet that drops with a clang onto the bin marked First City. That's not ominous. Postal Rat watches all of this with an air of satisfaction. We have a second one. That does not change. Let's converse with the Postal Rat. Why doesn't it make a machine like the one back in London? It might lead to fewer dead letters in the first place. Regulations. Oh, no, that wouldn't be permitted at all. There are strict rules about the initial handling and sorting of post. An experimental machine might mangle the letters. It's only the dead material that is unimportant enough to be trusted to a Rattus Faber. His voice isn't bitter, but he twists a coil so hard it springs sideways out of the machine and pings off your shoe. Ask the Postal Rat for a key to the basement. You've worked here long enough now, you might need one. He's surprised by the request. Most postmen don't like it down there. No one ever asks for a key. But he'll cut you a new one. Just be careful in there, and come out if you start to feel wrong. The key is warm in our pocket. Deep and deeper. You'd expected a few shelves of supplies, more files of letters a few years older. No. It is a pit, so deep that lantern light does not show the bottom. A spiral walkway descends along its wall, and that spiral opens wider as it goes, as if you were looking through the narrow end of a very large shell. Lining this wall are shelves and nooks, unevenly sized. Some are a few inches square and contain single scrolls of papyrus. Others support crates bigger than coffins. They're made of a woody fungus grown to meet requirements. There are no marks of carpentry or any of the Postal Rat's handiwork. 3 turns down the spiral, and you feel you can't breathe. Time to leave. You can come back later. Maybe. Let's tell the Postal Rat about our findings. They say that's been there since before we came, before there were Londoners in the Neath. Before there was a dead letter office, there was someone else, and they built the last layer on top of what was there before, and so on. When you press him a little further, he says, I've been down there. Didn't like it much, but I wanted to test my machine. Thought if it could handle some of the very old dead letters, that would be a good sign, you know? Evidence the machine is in working order. Good, strong sorting categories and so forth. He pauses. There's letters down there that set your hair on fire if you so much as look at them. See the bald patch on my left leg? That wasn't a machine accident. Oh no. That singed right off as soon as I put my nose into one of them letters. We're now familiar with the flaming letters. We gain a tale of terror and an extraordinary implication. To do any more down there, we are going to need a 5 Foxfire candles and a flare, which we can get in London. We may do that later. Or if we had a lot of mirrors, I mean a lot of mirrors, we could try to descend in it with our mirrors ability. And our shift work. And we are done here. However, we are going to buy some fuel and some supplies. Now, where are we? Oh, that's right. We're looking for the Khanate, aren't we? And we never found it. Well, to me, that screams that we need to keep going south. The Finknodle Vortex. That's a whirlpool. Let's not get caught in the whirlpool, shall we? That would end poorly. Alright, we should be getting towards the edge of this tile. Reef of Roses is some distance to our southeast. Well, I know what that is. It's not what we're looking for either. Yep, we discovered the Reef of Roses. Which is nice, but it's definitely not what we're looking for. Which means we're getting near the Isle of Cats. And I think Visage, too. Yes, Visage is to our west. Visage is fun. I like Visage. We can do Visage. Oh, it's you. Oh, you just barely did not get a shot off. Ow! Well, so much for that. I don't want to fight you again. I'm good. Hide your face. Hide all your faces. This is the port of Visage, where faces may not be naked, except one, a stone monument the size of a village church, serenely gazing upwards, flourishing of years. Well, let's create a port report. We can interview those who are leaving. The party merchant gives you a confused account of crocodiles and honeycakes and something about ear blockage. To this, you add your own impressions about the street layout, close to a port, and types of commerce here. When the lights are especially bright, it's possible to make out the details of the profile of that great stone face. Let's go ashore. Oh, reading. We're going to have so much more reading. All those who enter must play their parts. The sign is visible only after you cross the threshold. On the lower slopes, stone buildings, flat roofs, archways, and the architecture there lingers a memory of lotus and palm frond. The hill above is a face, forever looking up the ceiling of the undersea. No one inhabits its cheeks or the hollows of its eyes. One may not wander visaged will. All visitors must pass one by one through a room guarded by a person in the mask of a moon moth. That's all for now. Ask to go about without any mask, for your own face will do for you, thank you very much. No? Moon moth folds its wings. Not suitable, it says. On Visage, everyone is masked. To walk the island with your own face would give scandal. Ask the significance of the masks. Moonmoth explained, each mask declares a different intention towards the citizens of Visage, must be accompanied by suitable behavior. The frog is for visitors who, though perhaps clumsy and unfamiliar with local etiquette, have come in order to observe local ways and make uncouth comments about them. The locust is for those who seek profits in vision and would carry away as many goods as possible. You propped about the bat. Moonmoth hesitates. Bat is an ill-omened visitor, sent as a messenger or spy. Bat always dies. I'm going to go with Locust Mask. Moonmoth settles a locust mask over your head. The eye holes are covered with a thin gold film through which valuable objects gleam more brightly. May you find a happy harvest, says Moonmoth. Then, when you have partly turned away, it double knots the ties of its purse, as though you're likely to pick its pockets. Doesn't it know you can see it? Let's visit the Library of Parts. A room of heavy stone, guarded by golden statuette of a woman with outstretched arms. The scroll niches sorted to correspond to a variety of masks: the jackal and the lioness, the crocodile, and dung beetle. A woman in the mask of a lotus blossom is sitting at the lectern, reading in silence. Moonmoth stands to one side as your escort and tour guide. Ask about the purse of the room. What sorts of parts are they, anyway? Moonmoth explains. People think it means something like Library of Fragments, but this is wrong. The parts in questions are like parts in a play. This is where the denizens of Visage come in order to learn how to perform their masks accurately, more completely, with a truer spirit. Let's pick the pockets of the readers. It's a straightforward challenge. You dip your fingers into a crocodile's purse and acquire a few coppers from a heron. The coins here are no more than tiny copper chips, each stamped with an eye sigil. The exchange rate must be 1,000 of those to the echo. Hardly worth taking home. But you have acted as a locust is meant to ask anyhow. There are no scrolls for the locusts in the Library of Parts. We can visit one more time. Steal the most valuable looking scroll for later. 73% chance. More and more. Gilt-edged scrolls, papyrus bound on the emerald green silk bands. Poems of traversal to realms of the dead. Into your sack these go, leaving the scroll niches bare. The Moonmoth does not see what you do. The carapace of your costume hides everything. We gain some more fragments. Let's visit the Flood Court. Flood Court is a long stone room with 2 ranks of columns on each side. Currently the court is ankle deep in water. The water stains on the stone show that the flood has often reached higher, sometimes up to the height of your waist. In a raised niche at the end of the room sits a statue of a man with the head of a ram. He holds a jar from which water flows out onto the floor. Ask about the purpose of this room. From a corner, Moonmoth picks up a graduated stick. He shows you how a person sitting at the end of the room may dip the stick into the water and use it to measure the water level at a pre-selected point, and how the measurements are compared with measurements written on a calendar. The water level does not match the calendrical position. An assembly of pipes and drains is used to adjust it. It used to be, the moth, that the water rose and fell of its own accord, and that people before wrote down what height it reached. Now the water is still, but thanks to their actions, we can replicate the rise and fall, so as to be pleasing to the god of flood. You can place the explanation with a half-body bow toward the statue of the ram deity. Let's see here. Very chancy challenge. Gather coin from the flood court floor. Oh, we succeeded. 10 fragments. That's not bad. You wade into the water and begin gathering coins. People watch you from behind the mast, but no one tries to stop you. After a moment, the other locust masks in the room swarm with you. 4 and 5 and 6 of you together, scraping up the coins from the bottom of the pool, working your way along until everything is gone. It's just how a locust ought to behave. It has been making subtle overtures for some time. You only now understand them. It is keen to go. It draws you aside into a closet in the customs house. Had enough of Visage, it tells you frankly. Here, you take my mask and pretend to be me, and I'll trade in the visitor mask and get on the party ship. Get my life back. His face. No, now you see her face. Is aging but unlined. A lifetime of never needing to use a facial expression. So now we have a couple of places we can visit. I want to visit the Temple of Apis, I think. The center temple is a black bull with a white diamond on its face. It's tied in place with heavy ropes and is wounded in its thigh. For this wound it bleeds copiously without dying. Collect some of the blood for yourself, perhaps as a holy relic. Perhaps it could be sold as one to unsuspecting buyers elsewhere. You get an outlandish artifact for doing that. Well, they aren't the priests don't prevent you, but they aren't precisely pleased either. In fact, they are highly suspicious of why Moonmoth would want such a thing, until you explain you need to educate some especially ignorant and impious visitors. Then they let you go ahead. We're going to do that again. because it's very nice to have. We can visit the side of the face. Stone Cheek of the Flourishing of Years is visited as a pilgrimage by the inhabitants of Visage, and if you are in good favor, you too may go. The proper time. You must, of course, wait until your work with this day's crop of frogs and looks is complete. Would not be suitable to bring them along. Meditate on the meaning of face. The citizen gives many meanings to the face: perpetual beauty, stasis, the idea of looking upward into an unyielding darkness. But most of all, they speak of the idea of someone above looking down. The face is not convenient to view from down here. It would look as at best from the perspective of the ceiling of the undersea beyond reach. Yeah. So now we get to enter the hollow of the ear. Place of still greater pageantry. It's a journey of several steps and may conclude your current visit. It is a festival day. The great stone face has been illuminated from the forehead to chin with blazing torches, so that the profile is visible from the side more clearly than you have ever seen it. Flourishing of Years is awake, says the genderless figure in the crocodile mask. So at this point, you could bring a flare, and you could change the ending, but I actually want to go along with what's going on, so we'll do that. You go as though you were truly one of them. You carry nothing with you but your mask and your costume. May your heart be as light as a feather, says the woman in the lotus blossom mask, and you fall into line behind them. We are now empty-handed. The road you follow leads into the switchbacks along the side of the face, and finally into the ear of Flourishing of Years. And into the cave that is her ear. The tunnel bends back on itself, and the lights have now been extinguished. There is nothing to guide you but the hand of the person behind you on your back, and the movement of the person in front of you. The one who walks beside you wears a bat mask. Fortunately, the floor of the tunnel is very smooth, and presents no stumbling blocks. Sound carries strangely in this place, however. Sometimes you cannot hear your own footsteps, and sometimes breath comes back to you, audible from someone ahead in line. We could try to run, or we could continue. There's a secret in the dark. We'll continue. We are now empty-handed and brave. The footsteps of the people are steady and synchronized, and you go together. For how many years has this been done, and for how many will it be done in the future? Watch your step here, says the bat mask to you, an outer voice. Its accent is the accent of wolf-stacked docks. Floor is about to get squishier, and sure enough, it does. At last the tunnel opens out, and you and all the other convergents spread out in a cavernous space. A voice speaks in the darkness, a ritual preparation. Here at the new year, we gather under the one mask of Flourishing of Years, her face upturned to the gods. Protected by her mask, we remove our own. Protected by her script, we may speak outside our parts. Here and there, the sound of people fumbling with the ties and strings. Your face feels different with the mask off. We could wait and listen. We can tell one of our own secrets, but we don't have a lamentable relic. That's a pity. Let's receive the confidence of a stranger as holy. You lose 5 terror, we gain 1 memory of distant shores. In the deep shadows you hear things that you will never repeat. They are not the most dreadful of secrets or the most evil things you know, but they are trusted to you as confessions. You needn't guard your face while you listen, because no one can see you. You needn't scheme about how to use this information, because you do not know whose secret that this is. It has no use to you, except as a token of connection. Let the ceremony end according to the proper rites. At the end of the hour, there comes a woman with a feather of shimmering silver, which she tucks into your hand, symbol of the innocent heart that has not been eaten, that will not be eaten by the jackal. Then a bell rings and the time of speech is over. You all begin to put your mask back on. It is possible, you cannot know for sure, that in this cover someone has exchanged a mask with someone else. It's an orderly and perfect line that emerges again from the ear of Flourishing Years. The ear of the Flourishing of Years. If anyone watches from above, they must surely be satisfied. We get a captivating treasure and a secret. End your performance and leave the island. When the other citizens are distracted, you find your way to the familiar customs house and rid yourself of the mask and robe. There's a satisfaction in laying aside a role well performed. We have lost 10 terror. This is Visage. We cannot shop here. Keep that in mind. We've lost a lot of terror. It would really behoove me to actually continue south. But I really want to find the Khanate. The whole point of this journey was to find the Khanate, and so far we're not having a lot of luck. I couldn't be up there, could it? I don't think it could be over there. I don't know. We'll find out soon. Alright, we can turn our light back on now that That ship's far enough away. Khan's Shadow is some distance to the south. Excellent. So we found the Khanate. Khan's Shadow is not a bad place to start. Ooh, turn that off. I don't actually know if that one would attack me. I can't tell what color it is. Looks like it wouldn't have, because I think it would have spotted me, given how low my veils are. My veils actually aren't that low, but they're low enough. Well, maybe it would have attacked me, because something decided it wanted to have a piece of me. But here we are. We've made it to Khan's Shadow. We have a few things we're going to do. A city that swarm. Long ago, the Khanate turned its back on its warrior traditions. It has no place for the pirates and would-be nomads. So here in Khan's Shadow, the exiles make their home, and amid 100 wrecked, grounded, decommissioned ships. Let your Longshanks gunner go ashore. I'm no more good to your captain, but a scent of freedom now, and I'm for the city of broken ships. So I got a confession to make. I've been moonlighting in the old trade. Not aboard ship. I'd never steal from a shipmate's captain, I swear. From a shipmate captain, I swear, she winks. Would a port here, a port there. Here's some of my haul, and thanks. She hands you a collection of clinking objects, wrapped in cloth. Shoulders a bundle, and whistling hurdles the rail to land in a bustling cargo podge. She's gone. 2 artifacts, a casket of sapphires. Lost the gunner. We got an ambiguous eolith, a hunting trophy, and drowning pearls. Not a bad haul. For us. We're going to compile a port report. Conniving, debauching, speechifying, drinking, singing, speeching, poeting, and now again a drunken duel. Very occasionally a savage ritual murder. And we could do this to get 4 watchful curios, but my hold space is actually kind of at a premium, so I don't really want to do that. We could buy Stygian Ivory or crates of human souls here. The big thing that you could buy here that's really important is the empty mirror catch boxes. They serve a purpose on the surface to make money very quickly. I will not be doing that at the moment. I am going to buy a lot more fuel because we are a long way from home, actually, and we have the Khanate to explore still. So that will likely be the last of what we do. So the Khanate and London do not get along very well. Who'd have thought? I'm trying to remember exactly why we were coming out here. I mean, Khan's Shadow, I remember. Did I bring coffee? I did bring coffee. That's part of the reason. I'm surprised we have this much cargo space left, given all the stuff I'm carrying. It's alright, though. I would like to go up to Khan's Heart first. There's a lot of different fragments you can collect here, which is kind of neat. And we've got a graphical glitch there. Something awaits us at port, but it's not showing. That's alright. It's not a problem. As you can see, we've gained a lot of fragments just sailing through here. It's a great way to get some levels. That's the Khanate boat stale, by the way. Khan's Glory. Here are the palaces of the Khan and court, each a fortress to itself. Sleek lords and ladies, belted robes, breakfast on balconies. An unlikely antelope peeks at you from a park. Guns rotate easily on motorized gimbals. Offer a gift to the leopard. The royal clan of the Khan. The Khan himself has a notorious weakness for coffee, and his court follows suit. You meet with an effusive official in a room of blue glass pierced porcelain. You supply the customary compliments and courtesies while he nods complacently. Finally, you present a sample of coffee. And the official comes suddenly awake, inhales the scent of coffee, glances regretfully at the porcelain screen behind him. A watcher, he bows to you 3 times and sends you on your way. So for 5 sacks, we gain 1 favor. This is for the submarine, which is not a big deal. We can cruise by here real quick. The Khan's glory is a steely beauty, but the clan lords are ever suspicious of spies. Those gun emplacements are vigilant. Light blazes from every gate and window. You glimpse guards in gleaming uniforms, subterranean gardens of mauve and purple, hanging ornaments of scale, carnelian, and jade. Statues of warrior Khans pass. The water is dark and calm. The sentries watch you with calm distrust. Lose 2 terror, gain 1 memory to shore, and gain 1 suspicion. And use up R. Something awaits us. So we would like to get into the Nephrite Quarter, which requires 5 favor. So we're going to need to bring 20 more coffee. We can do that. Eventually. In the meanwhile, let's go check the other port that's here in the Khanate. There are 2 here. That was the one where you can't really do a lot to start. If we had Drowning Pearls, we could turn in Drowning Pearls as well, which would give us the ability to get pardoned if we get too much suspicion, and we will be gaining suspicion fairly regularly. Useless click here. Khan's Heart, London's rival, an oasis of light in the salt black wastes. Canals thread the painted city. Street lamps glow and water taxis porter. You can lose Tea House. You can lose Terror, but for 50 Echo, I think I'll pass. This is one of the few places you can get crew. It's very expensive. We can find our contact. Go very carefully. The Khanate is wary of Imperial spies. Go very carefully. You have half the directions you need. The other half should be a dead drop in the docks. 48%. Ouch. You find the address, but the street outside is thronged with white and gold uniforms. Loiter on the corner. There's 2 hard-faced men in no uniforms, but their own authority are directing operations. Their white uniformed henchmen manhandle an unconscious body into a waiting boat. Your contact. Back to your ship quickly. Gain 1 terror. Gain a memory just at shore. Gain 2 suspicion, which is unfortunately, because we failed the challenge. And we're going to do a port report. Khanate generally assumes that all forwarders are spies or warriors, so we'd be ashamed to disappoint them, but it might be dangerous to prove them right. This becomes more difficult the more suspicion we have. We have intelligent network, it becomes easier. Rivalry between the Leopard and Eagle clans, concerns about the Kellanite raids, some appalling gossip about the traitor empress back in London. Perhaps you shouldn't write that last one down and move on quickly. Gain a suspicion, gain a port report. Port reports from here, by the way, are incredibly valuable. I believe they're worth 75 echoes each, which I think is the most of any port report. All right. Well, we need to go northwest. But actually what I think we need to do is call it a part. Let's go dock again, and we'll pick this up next time. Anyway, we've found our contact here. Completed an Admiralty report, which will be worth a good chunk of money. We are Clay now. We got that last time. We're doing pretty good for a first captain. So, until our paths cross again, have fun and stay safe, everyone.